I'm going to read you a story, Rocky Mountain High. The end of the 8-part miniseries, The Kennedys. He found himself leaning out of his chair, staring down at the ground, unexpectedly awash in emotion, saying one word: Kendra. He started when he said her name. He'd never said it aloud before, not when he was alone. He was not the type to talk to himself. What was he feeling? It was definitely sadness. Why? Why did a TV series about the Kennedys remind him of his own life? He guessed it was the myth of Camelot, the senseless deaths, the brutal conflicts, the family unit, sacrifice on the altar of public service. It had been years since he thought about Glacier, Kendra, her family, and that summer of discontent. In June of 1980, he graduated from 8th grade at Pacific Union College Elementary School. He made a final trip with his classmates, 3 days of whitewater rafting on the American River. Then he flew by himself to Washington, D.C. and was picked up by his mother, reproved for chewing gum, and driven to their new home in Baltimore. He occupied himself most days throwing a ball against a wall, reading books at the library. Then his parents introduced him to a family with 2 kids. There was Kendra, a year younger, and Brent, 4 years younger. Now he had company and he didn't feel so wretched. So he hung out a lot at their home. It was a loving home, fun, funny, warm. It was proof that theology does not have to make you screwy. So Kendra's home had a den, and much of the time it was just the 3 kids, and they watched TV, and they played games, and they talked about books. They all ended up at Glacier, August 11th to the 15th, 1980, when his dad, Desmond Ford, went on trial for heresy. Not many kids came along to the denouement of this brilliant Seventh-day Adventist career. There was just the 3 kids much of the time. They splashed around in the pool. They played frisbee. Kendra had these thick glasses, and she was not the most athletically gifted. But what she lacked in sporting skill, she more than made up for with goodness, kindness, and intelligence. He knew he had the last trait, but not so much of the first 2. For being smart, he made a point of hanging around those strong where he was weak. On the Sabbath after the conference, the 3 of them were joined by Kendra's dad, and they climbed a mountain in the sun. When they got to the top, about 10,000 feet, he gingerly crawled out on his own to the sharp edge and looked out. He saw that his life in the Seventh-day Adventist Church was over. They would not be going back to Pacific Union College. They would not be staying by Kendra. They would go somewhere he could not see, not even from the top of this peak. And he felt dread in his heart, and he knew they were all going to be very lonely. It is great fun to state your opinions, but when they go against the orthodoxy of your group, then you are condemned to isolation. And isolation is another word for death. When the call came to return down the mountain, he thought that it would all be much easier if he just launched himself into the void. Kendra,